Hey, this is Jason from Martin Guitar, and I'm going to give Jared a tour of our museum.
Hell yeah.
So the story of Martin Guitar starts January 31st, 1796 in Martinkirchen, Germany, with the birth of Christian Friedrich Martin Sr.
Okay.
His father, Johann George Martin, was a cabinet maker, but he was also one of the earliest guitar builders around that time, because the six-string version of the guitar in the late 1700s, early 1800s, it was a pretty new invention.
Okay.
So Christian's father saw that his son had an interest in building guitars, and so he went to the violin makers in the town, because Martinkirchen back then was known for their violins.
Mm-hmm. So is this like one of his first guitars that he made?
Actually, the first known Martin to exist is this right here. That was built.
This one?
Yes, built in the United States in New York City.
Oh, wow.
So this is from 1834. And so this just shows what he learned to build under Salford.
It's like being handed a child. Oh my God.
I mean, it features this right here, which is very important, because if the guitar does not have a stamp like that, then we don't consider it a Martin.
Sure. And this is the first known.
Yeah, it's the earliest known Martin to exist.
Wow. In tune? Wow.
Now, if you look at the fingerboard extension over the body, you'll notice that it floats over the top of the guitar.
Yeah. Grand, yeah.
I mean, guitars like this aren't as valuable as pre-war Martins because of the function of them.
Sure.
Because the pre-war guitars, people look for them because they're steel string. They're more of what we consider a modern acoustic guitar. That's
Right.
why the D45 we have in our collection is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, just because of how rare it is,
Yeah.
and the sound you get from it.
Right.
The Martin family never really felt at home in New York City. Where they were from in Germany was rural.
Yeah.
And so how they ended up in the Nazareth area was they had a family friend, Henry Schatz. Christian Sr. studied with him under Stauffer. And the Schatz family moved to the Nazareth area around 1834, 1835, and Christian's wife came to visit them. And so I guess she wrote a letter home to her husband and said, this place is great. There's a large German-speaking population. It's rolling countryside. It reminds me of Germany. We need to move here.
Yeah.
So in 1839, he sold his shop in New York City, and the family moved to Cherry Hill, Pennsylvania, which is about a quarter mile from where our factory is now.
Nice. That's cool. Home. Felt more like home.
So this guitar is very important to the way acoustics are built, our acoustics, and a lot of other builders, because of the way it's braced. Now, this is the earliest guitar to have an X-brace top. And if you look at the top right there, that's exactly what the bracing on that guitar looks like. And this guitar was built for Madame de Goni, who was a prominent Spanish guitarist starting in the early 1840s.
Okay.
So she was popular.
That's her right there?
Yep, that's her right there. She held concerts in Philadelphia, New York, Boston. So C.F. Martin Sr. probably saw her perform in New York City, because he frequently made trips there to
Sure.
select wood and visit his dealers and things like that.
Look at this
Not
thing.
100% sure how you would tune it or play it as zither, but I know.
I assumed over top, like.
Yeah.
You would, that's interesting. It's like a heart, in a way.
Yeah, kinda
would you
like an
pick it up
auto
and
harp.
hold it and play it like that, or would you put it face down like it is?
I think
Like, would you
pick
rest it
up.
maybe and like?
Kind of like an auto harp kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Only one way to find out.
It needs to be tuned, but.
Yeah. Interesting. It's like a piano. It's so
Let's
weird.
see. Manufactured by C.F. Martin, Nazareth, PA.
Damn. So he experimented a lot. He did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, C.F. Martin Sr. passed away in 1873.
Yeah.
And at that point, his son, C.F. Jr., started running the company.
Makes sense.
Didn't really change too much. He did introduce steam-powered equipment to the factory in 1887 to allow them to build quicker and more efficiently.
Gotcha.
But then he passed away suddenly in 1888. This is what a workbench at the North Street factory would have looked like.
That's cool.
Now, we think that tool case on the wall is the tool case that C.F. Martin Sr. came from Germany with.
How old was he?
I mean, he was 63, but I guess it was a kind of unexpected illness. And yeah. But his son, Frank Henry Martin, who's only 22 years old, takes control of the company.
Right. Yeah.
So he's
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
And so Frank, he was a little more outgoing, more of an entrepreneur than his father, and he wanted to build the company beyond guitars.
Right.
So his first opportunity that he saw was the mandolin.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the mandolin first becomes popular in the United States.
Thick.
Yeah, that's a banderia.
What's up with this guy?
Harp mandolin?
No, what is the purpose of the horn? Is this a look, or is it actually
a little extra projection, maybe?
Extra volume or body, I guess.
Kind of like how guitars now have like the sound side ports and stuff like that, so you can project up towards you while you're playing, maybe something similar. I mean, it looks like it'd be tough to tune that string up there because the button's so close.
Right, yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. The next opportunity Frank saw was the ukulele.
What are those, are these signatures on them, or?
Yeah, so
okay.
It was just hugely popular. And this style one here was owned by Richard Conter.
Okay.
He was an officer in the Navy, and he volunteered to go on Admiral Byrd's first expedition over the North Pole.
Byrd Arctic Expedition. Yep. So is this written by him?
That's written by Conter.
Okay.
So he documented his travels on the ukulele.
That's cool.
Conter then has the crew of the ship sign it.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a reception for them in Washington, D.C. And at the reception, he has President Calvin Coolidge sign it, Charles Lindbergh, Amelia Earhart, Thomas Edison. Hawaiian music changed the way the guitar was played because Hawaiian bands featured the steel string guitar, which was a first.
Yeah.
And because of that, Martin got into building steel string guitars.
Right.
Which for them, 1915, 1916, they started building steel strings, and it was a perfect time because very quickly into the 1920s, steel strings would become standard.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy to think about.
You a baseball fan at all?
A little bit, yeah.
So this is a pretty unique guitar we have here.
Oh no.
So what we have here is a 1926 0018 that's signed by Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig.
That's way cooler than a signed baseball.
Yeah.
That's way cooler.
I'm pretty sure this is the only signed guitar out there by both of them.
Nice.
So they were campaigning for Al Smith, who was running against Herbert Hoover in 1928 to be president.
Right.
And so I guess he had all these famous friends, and so they all signed this guitar. So when you think about country music, the origins of country music, Jimmy Rogers comes to mind in the Carter family, and both of them used Martin instruments.
Yeah.
So when Jimmy Rogers really started rolling in royalties, he had Martin build him this 00045 with his name on the fingerboard.
Yeah.
He took it to a sign painter and had him paint thanks on the back, so when he was done playing a song, he could just flip it over and thank the crowd.
Yep. Metalcore bands do that today, but it doesn't say thanks. You just says something else. This is cool. 18-string harp guitar. Look at that. I am not the first one to do it. Look at that.
You want to play it?
Sure. It's interesting because it is such a thin string, but it sounds very bassy just with the design. Like I can feel it like vibrating on my chest. That's really cool. Gent 2020, baby. Let's go. Right on. What's with the jacket?
Well, that was owned by Roy Rogers.
Okay.
He was king of the singing cowboys.
Suit, yeah.
So that's what is called the nudie suit, built by Nudies of Hollywood. And they were popular in the 1940s, through the 60s. I'm sure there's guys even now that wear similar stuff. But
this one, she thick.
Yeah, that is a Ditson 111 Dreadnought. Now, that is what the Martin Company is best known for, is the Dreadnought, the D18, the D28. I think when a lot of people think of an acoustic guitar, that's what comes to mind. So this is the first D28 ever built, from 1931.
It's a little heavy.
Yeah, still the 12 fret design. Yeah, then in 1934, Martin decided, you know what, we're switching all of our other guitars to the 14 fret design. Let's do it with the Dreadnought. And that's when it really took off.
Okay.
That's when a lot of the early country and bluegrass players wanted those guitars because they needed more volume. So it had a thinner neck, it was more comfortable. And that's when you get stuff like this pre-war D45, like it says, the holy grail of acoustic guitars. Martin only built 91 pre-war D45s before they stopped construction because of World War II.
Oh, man. So cool.
Now the case behind us is dedicated to the instruments Martin was building during the Great Depression.
Okay.
So
they're a little bit darker, a little more
yeah,
sad.
Yeah. I mean, they were hurting just like every other business in the country. I mean, they were able to survive because they were smart about the way they did business.
Sure.
But they were trying ways to help build more sales. And so they started spraying sunburst finishes to compete with other companies like Gibson and Epiphone.
Right.
Same thing with different styles of mandolins.
Right.
Yeah, this is Chris Martin's room of some artifacts that he's collected from his travels around the world and some instruments that are special to him. Different things here, the folk art.
Is that Hank?
Yep, Hank. Then you got back here Big Hank and Little Hank. The next case over just shows the popularity of bluegrass and then country and then rock and roll.
There it is.
Yeah, it's the replica of the cover that Elvis used on his guitar.
Steering wheel cover for a guitar.
Yeah, and then Rick Nelson did the same thing.
Cool.
So yeah, when Elvis did his son's studio sessions, first he played a D18, then he bought a D28, got that leather cover made, showed off he was the king.
Yeah.
If you want to come visit us at Martin Guitar, we're located in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, not too far from New York City or Philadelphia, or really these days anywhere around the world. But our museum's open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and we do have free factory tours 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m., also Monday through Friday.
Check it out. Peace.